Well, I thought it was about time that I put up probably the meanest, baddest army the world has ever seen for its time, the Imperial Romans. I mean, Imperial Rome really needs no introduction. It started after Caesar's assassination, and it was his nephew, Augustus, that really gave the empire its name and its impetus and its growth. It flourished basically till about mid-1400s. So it was a real juggernaut. Of course, the empire was split into two at the time, but it was a massive empire. It's the one that we always have in our mind as being what Rome looked like. This was major transformations into the military. They adopted the Laura Segmenta metal armor. These were like mini tanks, all in themselves, practically unbeatable on the battlefield with traditional tactics. But this empire stretched all the way from the UK all the way through the Middle East and through Western Europe. Well, let's take a look at the army that I've assembled. I think it's an army that has evolved over the last 20 years. Well, okay, maybe not. Well, maybe 20. It's, I love this army, and I've always enjoyed adding to it and painting as new figures kind of came out. So I have 3 different Imperial Roman armies. I know people would say, geez, Kevin, that's a little bit obsessive, but I think we all are a little bit obsessive. But anyway, the first one that I painted was from Corvus Belli. I loved those figures. Those were fantastic. And the second one was from Corvus Belli. That one I acquired and then touched it up and kind of morphed it into my own. And of course, adding units, like Numidian cavalry and artillery, things like that. And then the third one was from Khurasan, which is probably the finest Imperial Roman soldiers that you could possibly get. So anyway, here's the first one that was done and painted. This is from Corvus Belli. And of course, all of my armies are based on an 80 millimeter frontage. So basically 2 40 millimeter stands. That's just the way I love units. It fit perfectly for a Roman army. This one has 1 legion, 10 different stands, so 10 cohorts. And I always look at a cohort as being kind of like a half of a company in today's standards, and a legion is being somewhat like a modern-day battalion. So about 5,000 soldiers. I just usually keep that number in my mind. I know it's a little bit less, could be a little bit more. But I have 3 major battalions, or 3 legions, but you can split that up. So you can take 1 legion and make it much larger or smaller, or do whatever you want to it. I've got a couple of units, 4 cohorts of Praetorian Guard. I only use those on occasion. I've got maybe 4 stands of artillery and 2 of catapults and trebuchet. So I put them out here on the table, just a little bit different than just lining them all up. I have them coming down the roads, forming up their lines, and they just look beautiful. Most of the shields are hand painted. You can kind of tell. I did a much better job on some, and maybe I probably need to go back and touch up the others. But Roman shields, painting them is really tough. Now these have transfers on it, and geez, I wish I could paint like transfers, but I hate putting transfers on. It makes me feel a little bit guilty and like I'm cheating. But I know it's really not, because that in itself is a little bit of an art, right? And it just does look much better than hand-painted, to be honest with you. But I do have all of the auxilia here. I painted almost as much auxilia as I did legionaries. Now, these are the Khurasan ones here, and I'll have some better shots. The poses on these figures are fantastic. If you haven't seen them, I know dealing with Khurasan sometimes is a bit difficult, but it's well worth the wait. The poses, the figures, the sculpting is bar none, just the best, to be honest with you. And I know my figures, trust me. But those are them, they're just beautiful. And of course, I just had to paint the legions in red. This one beckoned to be red. And there you can see, my shields probably need to be touched up a bit. But I think they look fantastic. And I loved them. Even the auxilia looks fantastic. I mean, these are the auxilia units. They have the round shields. They've got different armor. And yeah, I just can't say enough about them. I mean, on the battlefield, they you don't really get to put that many out there because they're so expensive if you use kind of a point system. Generally, I just play historical battles. But now the cavalry, I didn't paint a whole lot of that. I probably have about eight units, which I think for a Roman army is quite a bit. And I've got some light cavalry. People always ask me, what rules do I use? And for the most part, I really like Hail Caesar. I'm willing to try some other sets, but that's kind of the one that I enjoy the most. But listen, this movie's now coming to an end. If you like it, let me know. I'm going to try to put up my other Roman armies and just kind of complete the Roman ensemble. Anyway, until then, thanks a lot for watching. Bye.